3, 2, 1, going live, it says. Let's see if this is working. I got a new camera. You can do things with it. It's got a remote control. I don't know if it does anything. But we're going to wait and see if the audio is any good. Hopefully it is. Hopefully it's better than the cell phone camera I was using. So I'm going to wait to see what the chat says, see if you guys can hear me loud and clear. It says audio is good, loud and clear, America. All right, so we're loud and clear. What's up? Welcome back to another What's Up Wednesday. Chat seems to be running a little bit behind, but you guys say it sounds good. I decided to get a camera that goes on my computer here. It's made by Diagnostic, so it's the same company that makes our little borescopes that we use. Yeah, anyhow, I don't have a whole lot to talk about today. I did write a couple things down, so we'll wait for the people to join us. The screen here is a little different than it used to be. YouTube has changed it some since I've done it last. I'm not super tech savvy when it comes to this stuff. It is a balmy single digit outside right now. Freezing cold here this week. How was hunting season? Hunting season was great this year. Chris, thanks for asking. Mrs. O got a nice big old buck. Both my boys got bucks. I chose not to take anything myself. We had quite a bit of venison left from last year. So this year we were selective on what we took. So how's Sheba? Sheba's great. Sheba's my husky, in case you guys don't know. She's about 10 years old now, but she's doing wonderful. And our other dog, Weston, our German Shepherd, he's kind of a wuss, and he doesn't like to be home alone. So Sheba now stays home with him. That's why she's not at the shop anymore. So that's yeah, Teslas. I don't think I'd want to be up in Buffalo with a Tesla right now. A lot of those people don't have any power, and I think they got 3 or 4 feet of snow. So yeah, the full electric life up there is not doing real well. But yeah, it's wicked cold. I think next week though it's supposed to be in the 40s, so that'll be a good break. But man, this past week has been just absolutely brutal. Just high winds, super cold. Kind of sucks. Okay, Dave says he's got power in Buffalo. I know where Vanessa's sister was. They didn't have power. They were a couple days without. Dre, not Dr. Dre, asked about Mrs. O's power stop brake. So that's a good topic. That's something I was going to do an updated video on. So Mrs. O is running the full slotted drilled combo on the Kia minivan because that girl goes through brake rotors like they're going out of style. We put the power stops on it. It's been over a year, and they are smooth as glass, folks. Smooth as glass. I love those things. They've been absolutely wonderful. As a matter of fact, I've started to install them on some customers' cars that have problems, like my wife does. I'm not saying it's the driver, but there's some vehicles where the brakes are definitely undersized for the vehicle, and they, warp rotors like crazy. So I've installed them on some customers' cars and have been very pleased with it. The only thing I'm not pleased with is we don't have a power stop brake distributor nearby. Our one vendor, Factory Motor Parts, FMP, can get power stop. They can get the power stop pads, but they can't get the drilled slotted rotors, or at least they don't have them in their warehouse. So that's kind of frustrating. So that's that. But yeah, I'm super, super pleased with those. Anybody that's looking into them. Of course, I run them on my Tundra too, and they've been really great on there also. And I don't know if they're a higher carbon content, but they don't seem to rust. Which is great. Usually a year on a set of rotors here, they're starting to get pretty rusty. 2 years, they're super rusted, and, the rest is history. So Edward Trevino writes that even the regular power stop rotors are good too, but the drilled and slotted are great. So that's good to know, Edward, because they do have availability of those. However, I haven't made the switch to them because I don't have any input on it, but it's good to hear your input. So yeah, looks like we've got some folks up in here. So there's been a couple questions that have come across my feed on the YouTubes, as my mother-in-law calls them. So I'm gonna discuss a couple of these little things, and then we'll just kind of see what's going in the comments. We got about an hour. I guess I could look at this clock down here. We got about an hour today we could spend here. So the one question that comes up often in one form or another is people want me to tell what the price is that it costs the customer to fix the car. And I typically don't, for a couple reasons. One, not everybody, I'm not trying to put everybody in the same little box, but let's say I brought in this Cadillac and I put in a, intake manifold, and I said the job was $500. We're just throwing out numbers. At that point, usually people check out of the conversation, and we're on the Google machine, and they find the intake manifold for, $8 at, fixmycadillac.com, and their brother-in-law can put it on, and it takes them 10 minutes. And, they did the whole job for $50. Why did I charge $500? I'm a scumbag. Thumbs down, bad Google review. I hope you die. And then there's the other people on the other extreme, like, oh, wow, that's such a value. My shop charges $380 an hour, and I paid $1,000 for the intake. So our pricing is, I'm $90 an hour, and I might have, a 20 to 30% markup on price. So the price that I charge isn't necessarily the price that your shop charges. You could pay $150 an hour, and they have 100% markup, or they sell stuff at full retail, full list price. So you might expect to say, you go into your shop like, oh, I don't even need an estimate, just fix it. And then you get your bill. You're like, how come Eric did this job for $500 and you're charging me $1,500? So I'm just trying to stop conflict or confusion. And then there is also the fact that somebody could watch a video of a job that I gave the prices on, and that video is 10 years old. Well, we all know what happens with inflation, but some people might not see that, or they might come back to me like, well, you said in your video you did it for a nickel, and now you're charging me $1. So that's why I don't say prices, because it's kind of irrelevant. I don't know. I guess that's really the long and short answer of it. It's really irrelevant at that point. I charge a fair price for the work I do, and I don't rip people off, and I guess we'll leave it at that. So hopefully that answers that. But you can look here in the comment section, just the difference in places around. People think that $90 an hour here is a bargain. Other people say that, over here I see other people writing that their shops are anywhere from 130 to 180 an hour. That's just, that's the difference, the geographical difference, depending on where you live. $90 an hour, I'm on the high side for where we live, to be honest with you. As an independent shop, I'm probably the highest in our area. But in my opinion, I offer a good service, and, we can pay our bills, and that's it. So this guy wants to know, electric cars are taking over in England. How's the U.S.? I have no idea. I don't keep up with it. So I don't want to sound ignorant, but ignorance is bliss, I guess. I think it's a very small part of the population here in the U.S. and certainly in our area. We don't see electric cars. We don't even see hybrid cars. So we don't even see Euro cars. So that's that. So that's that. That's question number one I had written down. Why don't I display the prices or tell the prices of what I charge the customer? So that's that. Anything over here? This guy says Zib, there's $190 an hour at his Ford dealership in the Metro Detroit area. I should be $150 plus. So that's that. I will tell people that when it comes to diagnostics, I do have a 1 hour minimum fee that I charge, whether it takes me 5 seconds or, the full hour. Usually how I charge that, and I'm not afraid to, to say this isn't incriminating or anything. It's just a matter of fact. But when you come in, say my check engine light's on, I want it diagnosed. I tell the person it's $90. That covers me for up to 1 hour. If it's going to take me any longer than that, I notify the customer. But usually at that point, I have a pretty good direction where we're going to go, and a rough idea of about how much more time I may need For example, let's say we're working on a caddy again, and it has a code for the canister purge valve, and we get there and we check it. Oh, the purge valve's good. Oh, we don't have any control coming from the computer. We'll do a few more checks. We may go to the computer and say, well, we got control coming out of the computer, but it's not making it to, the purge valve. At this point, we know we have a broken wire. So I would stop right there, even if I'm a half hour in, some visual inspection. I don't see where it's rubbed. This may take another, hour or 1 to 3 hours, let's say, to, isolate and find this. So at that point, I'll call the customer and say, hey, we've done this. We have this code. We were missing, a signal. I try to, dumb it down so everybody can understand it when I'm talking to them. And then I'll say, we know it's a broken wire. The wire goes around here and through here and up over here. We need to break the system down. Can you authorize me up to 3 hours of work? Yep, absolutely. Go ahead, get after it. We get after it, and boom. Most cases, in the next hour, you find where the wires broke or rubbed through, and Robert's your mother's brother. So that's how we, handle that. So let's see the other question. Now this one comes up a lot, and it's going to hit people right in the feels in some cases, but this is what I've learned over 10 years of doing YouTube. So we've been on YouTube about 10 years, 9.25 years, we'll call it. So we round up. Why do I not take work from out-of-towners or work from YouTubers? And this is a difficult question to answer because this doesn't apply to everybody. And I hate always taking people and putting them all in one box. But I'll try to summarize it. And we've summarized this in multiple videos on multiple occasions, but I understand that everybody doesn't watch every video, so they don't know. And they may not even see this one. We don't take out-of-towners or YouTubers, we'll call it. I don't call it out-of-towners, because if you break down, you're from out of town, I'll fix your car. But why don't we take people who want to travel 5, 6, 8, 10, 12, 20 hours to get here? And that's because logistically, it doesn't work, typically. Sometimes, but not always situation. For example, just yesterday, I had a guy that came from the Rochester area. So that's, an hour and 20 minutes north of here. He drives down here, says he needs, already told me what he needs. I need a fuel pump, lock ring, top of the fuel pump's cracked. I got an evap leak. It's in a Mazda. So I bring it in, and he said he had it at the Mazda dealer, and they, couldn't do it or didn't do it. Put the gas tank back in. It was a really weird situation, but long story short, I get it in here. I pop the back seat out. And the reason it's here is because it is one giant ball of rust. And, now we've got a waiter. And it's one of those situations where I almost didn't want to do it because I know it's going to go south. Long story short, I ended up, doing it and getting it and got all the screws out, and, everybody's happy. But there are those situations where I've had, out-of-towners come in. They bring their car. I check it out. I diagnose it. We need part A, B, and C. Well, part A and B I can get, but part C I can't have for about a week and a half. Now it's this big deal, but I drove 8 hours. I'm sorry, I can't control that. Well, we were going to stay in a motel. Now what do we do? I don't know. I don't know. I can't just, here's your part. You know what I'm saying? So that's what it usually comes down to, is logistics. Or I'll have somebody call and they'll want to make an appointment. Hey, I'm going to drive 5 hours. My car does this. Okay, that's no problem. Get it here. They come here, and then the first thing they say is, oh, you're not going to believe it. It hasn't done this for like a week. Can you still look at it and figure it out? It's like, I'm sorry, I can't. If I can't duplicate the problem, if we can't recreate the customer concern, it can't be fixed. And if you think it can, well, you're just guessing. And that's the bottom line. People don't like to hear that. So, and there's other, I could just keep adding to this story to where it just goes on and on and on. And it's very difficult to explain this to every single person that calls. And then people always bring up well, what if I just drop it off? Okay, I've got a Subaru. It needs head gaskets. I just want to drop it off and have you do it. Great. They'll drop it off. You can have it as long as you want. I bring it in. I do the head gaskets. I do a great job. New head bolts, new timing belt. Everything goes great. Water pump. They take it home. Well, 3 months later, water pump starts leaking. Thermostat goes defective. Something happens. Something beyond my control. They call me up. What are you going to do about it? Well, can you bring it by so I can fix it? I can't bring it by. I live 12 hours away. Sorry, Charlie. So it's easier to just not do it, if that makes sense. So I hope that clarifies that. I know some people will understand it, some people won't. But at the end of the day, it's just easier to say no to everybody. And I know that sounds really terrible, but from a business perspective, it's what I have to do. I initially started out doing work for YouTubers, and a lot of times it worked, but there was multiple times where it turned into an absolute freaking disaster. And I don't like disasters. I don't like things that are out of my control, when if you lived in town or lived nearby, it would be in my control per se, at least the best it could be. So that answers that question. Steve-O 66, he asked me, he says, hey, my guy, what's up, my guy? 04 Silverado with a big 6.0 LQ4, whatever that means. Does it have a strategy that turns off the injectors on a misfiring cylinder? Thanks for all the years of information and entertainment. I don't know, Steve, right offhand. I can't remember. I don't think so on an 04. I don't believe that GM shuts off the injector on a misfiring cylinder. Chrysler 100% does. But on General Motors, I don't know for sure. Perhaps people can fill that in. I fixed a lot of misfiring Chevys in my day, and I'm trying to remember, when they start misfiring on a whole bank from a rotted ground, they usually reek like gas. So I don't believe it does, but I could be wrong. I'd have to look on service data, but I don't believe that they do. So JP wants to know what the oldest vehicle I'm willing to work on. I appreciate the super chat, guys. I really do. I don't know how to turn it off from the stream, so I didn't. But I do appreciate them. But if we could just kind of lay off them tonight, that would be super awesome. Just saying. But I do appreciate it. What's the oldest vehicle that I'm willing to work on? Generally, why? Is it your region? You won't see cars older than 10 years on the road. Good question, JP. So thanks, Jay in Arizona, just because. So to answer JP's question, what's the oldest thing I work on? Typically when people are calling and they have a car that's, somewhere between 10 and 15 years old, depending on what it is that they want done, depends on whether or not I ask them to stop by with a car. So for example, you call and you say, hey, I've got a 2013 Chevy pickup. I need a fuel pump in it. Well, that's not a good example because they can't drive it by. Or I need to do exhaust manifolds on it. I at that point, being that it's an 11-year-old GM truck, I'll say, can you stop by with it because I need to see how rotted the frame is. Yeah, I'll do your manifold job. That I don't care about, but I got to get it on the lift without the truck breaking in half. Or for example, today I had a guy with an 05 Buick LeSabre. Has an EVAP problem. I'm like, well, you're going to have to swing by with it before I even make an appointment, because that car can be so rotted that, and it was, I did a video on it. Me and McCoy did a video on it this morning, and the whole left rear structure of the car is gone. It's just complete. It's rotted right up through the trunk. I mean, we fixed his EVAP leak so he can go get a lick 'em, stick 'em inspection. But the fact of the matter is it's a case by case basis just because of rust. So hopefully that answers that question. It's not a set in stone thing, but if you call me and say I got a 04, 05, 06, I'm going to ask you a couple things. Is it a Southern truck? Is it a New York truck or car? And can I see it first before I make that appointment? So that's how we usually handle that. We know which cars and which trucks rot in half. Not throwing stones at General Motors, but the 2007 and newer Chevy trucks, those things completely dissolve. In 10 years, the frames are gone. I mean, as a matter of fact, I think we just did a video on a 2015. I think I've got it in my pocket. We picked the truck up in the air. It has a fuel tank pressure sensor problem. And, we turn around, I show you the frame. It's missing, there's an 18-inch section that you can stick your finger through all the way through. It's 2015. It's just how it is, folks. Those like the small Chrysler SUVs, Patriots and Compasses, I mean, those things just dissolve. So there's certain jobs that I want to look at prior to even wasting time making an appointment. So that's my and last but not least, well, no, we'll skip that question for right now. So we'll say over here, Tim says he'd love for me to do a once over on his car, but he's far away and everything is metric. So here's my 2 cents. Thanks, Tim. Yeah. Eric Nitzel says he's grateful to have a Tahoe in Arizona, man. I have a customer. We have a new customer that just moved here from Arizona, and they brought their 2 vehicles, and they're gorgeous. I mean, not the customers, but the vehicles. Just beautiful. One's a 19, the other one's I think is like a 15, but they're both 2-wheel drive SUVs, which is kind of hilarious. So I don't know how they're making out with those, but from a rust standpoint, I'm like, man, this is wonderful. Yeah, one of the Nissans, Jay. Yeah, I think we did a washer jug on the one, and it's crazy how nice cars are there. But even those folks' other cars, absolutely wonderful. So, anyways, let's see. Do frequent car washes help with underbody rust and rot? So that's a great question. John Allen wrote that. Wants to know if frequently washing your car. So let's take this past week or 2 weeks here, for example, like the sun's out certain days. So when salt really needs the sun to activate it and get the roads cleared off. Around here, we don't have a ton of traffic. So the roads are usually sloppy, though we get snow, the state roads and some of the county roads aren't terrible, but for the most part, the majority of the back roads, so the dirt roads, macadam, gravel roads, stuff like that, they're snow covered and sloppy a lot. And you're driving through the slop, but it's 20 degrees out, or, at nighttime, it's getting down to like 6 or 7 degrees Fahrenheit. And then it's only getting up in the low teens during the day for a couple weeks stretch. And, you're always driving through the slop. So you're not going to go to the car wash during that time. So there's like a 2-week period. And now you're in week 3 where it warms up a little bit, but the roads, the back roads that you drive on are soft and they're mush, and the snow's gone, but now the dirt's soft. And you could go and wash your car, but by the time you drive home, it's completely brown and covered with salt and slop again by the time you get home. So it's kind of, yes, you can go and wash it once it's above freezing, but then you're just literally driving through the slop again just to get back home. So if you have a car wash at home, a heated garage with a floor drain, and you're able to wash your car at home, yeah, perhaps. I have, 3 customers that I can think of that have their own car wash at home. They have heated garages with drains, and they wash their car almost daily. It's interesting to say this, because some of you might not believe me, but some of you will, is those cars rust differently than the cars that just sit outside. They get big, scaly rust all over everything underneath the car. Stuff that doesn't rust on a car that just sits out in the driveway per se. You can always tell the people that have a heated garage and wash their vehicle in their garage when they bring it in, or even just have a heated garage where it drips and, the car is always in a terrarium per se. I guess if that's a word, right? A terrarium, isn't that like a little thing where it's always moist? The cars rot differently. The bodies always look like $1 million, but the bottom side of the car will have the biggest, flakiest, scaliest rust all over some really weird parts that don't normally rust. So that's what I see from people who constantly wash their cars and park them in a heated garage. It sounds like that wouldn't be true. But it seems to me that the people who have a non-heated garage or park them out of the weather, like in a drafty, lean-to or carport, their cars seem to hold up better. The best thing that I found is wool wax, or not wool wax, fluid film or wool wax or a lanolin-based product or Crown or any of them. I said wool wax because I tried wool wax on my pickup truck this year. And I tell you what, she's looking nice. I used wool wax black just on my frame. A lot of you guys have mentioned it in the comments, so I decided, why not try wool wax? Not to mention, it came with a free, oops, not that, keychain. Yes, sir. I got my wool wax keychain right next to my fluid film keychain on my Toyota keys. I'm pretty impressed with the wool wax, and I'll tell you the reason that I did it. It's, you guys mention it a lot. You know, I always see it in the comment. Oh, have you tried wool wax? I haven't. However, I had a customer come in, a customer that used to live here. He came up to visit and he brought his Ford Ranger in, and I looked underneath it and I'm like, wow, dude, this thing's nice, you know, and he just had it sprayed. And so I asked him, I said, hey, you know, such and such, what do you use on your truck? Oh, I took it to this place in Pennsylvania. The guy sprayed it with wool wax. And I was like, wow, did he just do it? Because I thought he had just done it. He's like, no, that was done last year. And I mean, this thing looked great. And, you know, it's a daily. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to get me some. I got me some. It sprays quite a bit different than fluid film. It's thicker, we'll call it. Oops, let me just see something here. Oops. Guys clicking. It's thicker. It didn't have the overspray that fluid film does. You know, I didn't adjust my gun or anything. I was just lobbing it on there. But to get the coverage, usually fluid film, I can big fog sticks to everything. The wool wax, I had to really spray it where I wanted it, you know. So it was frustrating and a little bit tedious to do my entire frame because I bought a gallon of wool wax black. And once I started spraying it, I discovered like, well, I'm only going to have enough to do my frame because I'm just like every little nook and cranny, but it looks freaking awesome. And then, so I did my whole frame with wool wax black, and then I did the rest of my truck with fluid film. So that's that. Oh yeah, and the smell. I am not a fan of the fluid film smell. Most people, it doesn't bother. To me, it smells like dirty socks. The smell goes away after like a week, and you know, I've gone through, you know, numerous 55-gallon drums of it. I'm still an advocate of it. I believe it works extremely well, but I am experimenting with the wool wax on high wash areas under the vehicle. Wool wax, they claim that it lasts 2 years. I don't know. You guys probably have more experience with that than I do, but so far so good. And it is my tradition, I guess you will. I don't wash my truck in the wintertime. I start driving it as soon as the snow and the salt starts flying. We commute and travel on back roads, and it is absolutely pointless to wash my truck. The only time I will is if, let's say, we're going to town. Me and Mrs. O are going out, and it happens to be all the state roads, county roads, highways are clear. I come downtown, I might run through the lazy wash and let it wash my truck, but that's about it, because I know as soon as I drive home, as soon as I turn off the main road, you know, we're hitting back roads, and they're dirt and slop and mud. So I do not wash my truck for months, many, many months. I keep the inside clean, but as far as getting under it and getting salt and stuff off it, I don't wash it. I don't wash my truck in the winter. I rarely wash it in the summer, and you know, my truck holds up 10 times better than anything that's not covered, you know, with fluid film. So I'm very dependent on the product that you put on your frame, whether it's bar and chain oil or melt down toilet bowl wax rings. You have to have some kind of fluid on there. And I don't care what you use. I mean, I think they're all good. They all have their pros and cons, but that's me. Yeah, I don't wash my truck. Not in the wintertime. So Victor wants to know, what do you do if a car burns oil? You replace the engine or rebuild it. I mean, well, it depends. You know, I mean, if it's burning down the PCV system, sometimes that's an easy fix. But, you know, if it's blowing by and, you know, burning past the rings, what are you going to do? Or the valve guides or valve seals? I mean, you're either pulling ahead and doing guides and seals, or rebuilding the engine, or just replacing it. No, I'm not kidding about the melted down toilet bowl wax rings. Guys do that. I've seen guys make their own formula using bar and chain oil and toilet bowl wax rings. You know, they melt them down into a goo and spray it on. I guess it's nothing I've done, but you Google that or search that on YouTube. I think you'll find that. So yeah, I wasn't joking about that. What do I think of oil catch cans? I don't think much of them. I've never installed one. I see them on cars that come in. And they're like spewing over full. And I've had customers report to me like, oh yeah, I put on a catch can, and, you know, they've got pictures of, you know, of how much, you know, crap they've dumped out of them. Seems like a good concept to keep, you know, especially on a GDI engine. I think Dorman makes a universal catch can. I think there's all kinds of, you know, universal catch cans out there. So I wouldn't be opposed to putting one on. I don't think it's going to hurt anything. Yeah. Used toilet bowl wax rings are cheap. Yeah, exactly. How much snow do we get? We don't have much snow here. I think we've only got probably like 6 or 8 inches out there at the most. Yesterday it snowed. We got like 4 inches of that really, really fluffy snow, the stuff that's kind of annoying. So ended up, plowing that off, but not too bad. Up north of here, they've gotten absolutely pounded. So let's see. Oh, that guy sprays his toilet with wool wax, and he says it hasn't rusted yet. So there you go. His porcelain toilet bowl has not rusted. Let's see. What else do we got here? Yeah, no, we don't have much snow at all. Yeah. The NYVIP3, how's it going? Well, it's going good. So the NYVIP3 is your New York State Vehicle Inspection Program number 3. This is the new state inspection computer with the print-on-demand stickers. It was an absolute disaster when it was launched, as most anything is from New York State or any government agency, I guess. It was supposed to be implemented January 1 of 2023, and it's just now getting in place. I think they sundowned the old program December of 2024, but getting the program up and running wasn't, like I say, absolute mess. You can't call anybody, nothing works. So anyways, I didn't even bother putting our machine together until September when the state finally came, showed up in person after sending many nasty grams as to why I haven't installed it, even though I've received it. And I told them, because we get emails every day saying it doesn't work, and when this doesn't work, do this, and scratch your head and rub your belly and wait on hold for hours. So I said, when I quit receiving emails saying that your system's screwed up, then I'll put it together. And that's what we did, and it worked flawlessly. So yeah, Opus on hold for hours. Yeah, forget about it, man. You got to get a hold of them. Forget about it. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, grew up in Syracuse, used to measure snow in feet. Yeah, that's funny because that's how it came across my phone this morning. Winter storm advisory for Buffalo, Schuyler County, blah, blah, blah. 1 to 3 feet. Total storm accumulation up to 4 feet. I'm like, wow, they didn't even do it in inches. Just how many feet they're going to get. Let's see. Eric drives a Tundra. Yes, sir. I sure do. Drives a 2020 Tundra with the big 5.7. Can we see Luna now? She's in the office. She's out cold. She's sleeping. Oh, welcome to early access membership. So we do have, and I guess I could address that. That's something we can talk about is some people will look on our channel and I'll get a nasty, I can't believe you hid this video behind a membership. Whoa, dude. There is memberships on my YouTube channel that you can sign up and be a member of the SMA channel. I think it's $1.50 or $2.50, something like that. And what that does is it gives people access to any video that I upload before it comes out on its regular scheduled time. That's the benefit. And that's pretty well it. Some people choose that they want to do that. There's no hidden videos. There's no special section that you'll get to. You won't see anything. That's it. That's all it does. When I upload a video, I'm just like, it goes out to the members, and then that video gets rolled out on YouTube whenever it's scheduled to be rolled out. We've been extremely busy here at the shop, and I haven't been doing a lot of videos. I've been slacking in the video department big time. I've got 3 of them in my pocket right now. I tried to get in the groove, man. I just got in a funk for quite a while, like through most of December. Let's be honest. I mean, I was pulling videos out, stuff that I had stashed from like this summer back in September. So yeah, that's just something we put there. Nobody's forced to do it. It's their own. I don't even advertise it. This is the first time I've advertised it, but yep. So that's that. Let me go grab my sweatshirt. It's getting chilly in here. Because I turned the furnace off so you guys can hear. Oh, what's the after shift beverage? Just sparkling water. No booze. I got to go pick up my daughter in a little bit. So no drinking and driving, just my favorite black cherry vanilla sparkling water. This is from Wegmans, not a sponsor. It's my favorite one. Have I ever done a PCV on a 17 Cruise 1.4? More than likely, if it's the entire valve cover assembly on that one. I just did a 1.5 this morning on a 2018 Chevy Trax blown out diaphragm. The 1.4, I assume it's the same. That's the same piece of junk GM puts in everything. I miss Wegmans. Yeah, Wegmans is a great grocery store. Wonderful. Well, Danny Wegman. Do I actually have sponsors? Well, what do you consider a sponsor? Somebody that gives you a free tool? If that's the case, then yeah, I've got a sponsor. However, I don't have many sponsors, and we turn down offers on the emails that come in because I don't want to be a slave to anybody. I tell people if a company wants to, hey, we want to give you this scraper. Okay, well, I will let them know you're welcome to give that to me. We'll use it in a video organically. If it's a piece of junk, everybody's going to see it. I'm not going to ridicule your tool and say, don't go buy this because it's a piece of garbage. If it works, good. If it doesn't work, fine. If I use it, good. If I don't, fine. Most places won't agree to those terms. They want to pay you X amount of dollars for, saying, buy this scraper. It's the best scraper on the planet. You have my endorsement. And I know because I fix cars. But I won't do that because that's ridiculous. So that's why we don't do sponsorships. Super Scraper and Astro. I love Super Scraper. Hey, don't get me wrong. If you guys want a good scraper, the Astro Tools 9532 tungsten scraper, which ironically looks an awful lot like the one from Super Scraper. I don't know what happened here, but this style carbide scraper is, as we say back in the 90s, it is the bomb. And then these Super Scrapers here are also the bomb, the little mini one and longer one. These are by far my most favorite scrapers in the world, being that we're on the topic of scrapers. Super Scraper, not a sponsor. They do great. And the one from Astro Tools is fantastic too. They're very similar or pretty much identical. Hard piece of carbon. You got to be careful. You're coming across something, aluminum, you turn that baby up on the edge, you got a big old groove cut in that, old son. So we just talked about that, Blair. We just talked about the benefits. You're going to have to rewind the video a little bit if you want to catch up on that. As it's stated in the membership portion when you sign up, that it just allows early access to videos. But like I say, Blair, rewind just about 5 minutes here or so and watch that. So is Dorman my next sponsor? Probably not. Let's be honest. So people keep asking about deer season. Now that can be a touchy topic because some people that watch automotive channels really aren't into hunting and they don't understand it. And if you show pictures of what you harvest, they get a little sensitive. I usually don't care about people's feelings. I would be happy to show you the pictures, but I don't know if anybody's going to go all PETA on us in here. This guy says, why did you change out your DeWalt cordless ratchet? Oh, I'll tell you, Dean, because the DeWalt cordless ratchet sucks. It's a piece of crap in comparison to the Snap-on cordless ratchet. In my opinion, I really enjoy my Snap-on cordless ratchet. However, I broke it in the first couple months and it's out getting fixed right now. So I'm back to using the DeWalt one. So that's that. That's the long and short answer. Let's see. I don't even work on cars, but you're just fun to watch. You do your thing. I just bought a 2018 Equinox 2.0. I'm sorry. Anything for me to watch in the future? Only 54,000 kilometers in Canuckland. Basically everything. No, I can't say that for sure. I've got one of those coming in, a 2019, I believe it is, Equinox all-wheel drive. And I'm doing the rear axle seal. So the rear axle seals are leaking on it. And then wants rear differential service, which they have an electronic clutch back there. And it takes Pentosan like T111. It takes power steering fluid in the clutch pack back there. So anyhow, I've got a couple customers with those, just your typical GM shenanigans, control arm bushings and axle seals and wheel bearings and brakes, and, just normal stuff. Right. So that's good. Yeah, that PETA love, Daddy. People eating tasty animals. Is channel membership a better option than Patreon? Either one, man. I just give people, some people want an outlet, they want to support you, or they don't use whatever PayPal, they don't use whatever. People always want choices of different platforms. I try to provide that, but I don't push it. I bought the Astro Scraper and can never get any super scrapers in the UK. Love always, Tim. Cool, Tim. I'm glad you at least got the Astro one, and you're not missing much by not having the super scraper brand. The Astro one works just as well. Oh, Mike is in and out. Let's see. Let me see what it says here. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Do you hear me? I'll wait till this hopefully straightens up here. Just refresh. No audio issues. Stand by. Yeah, dormant mic. Just a second here. I don't know if there's much on my end I can do, folks. Just stand by. I don't know what to do. There's nothing on my end. I can mute it. Let's see, let's go to edit. I got the mic from Dorman, let's be honest. No, I'm just kidding. It's a depth stack. Oops. Got to pop out dashboard here. Let me see what that does. Check my internet. Hold on. Google Chrome is using my microphone, it says. This is why I suck at this stuff. No, the battery's not going bad. It plugs into the USB up here. Let me just check my internet. Stand by, folks. We're code red. Let's see what kind of connection we got here. All right, we're downloading at 220 megs per second, so that's good. She's cranking. And we're only uploading, we're wireless, so we're only uploading at 20. So we're 200 down, 20 up. This should be plenty to run this. I don't know much more about it. Is it still sucky? Because I'll unplug it and plug it back in. Let me know. This guy said it's fine now, getting better. What about this? Hey! Is that better? I flicked it with my finger. I can't tell. Reboot. Yep, it's still bad. Improving. Sounds better. Let's see. Getting better. Holy crap, this is going too fast. Still bad. I'm going to unplug you guys and plug you back in. Stand by. You're getting unplugged.